expanded in a set of nozzles from 10 bar and 200 degrees Celsius to 5 bar. Okay, what type of nozzle it is, or it is. I should able to check it based on what is the exit pressure, all those things and all. Then, neglecting the initial velocity, find the minimum area of the nozzle required to allow a flow of 3 kg per second under the given conditions. Assume that the expansion is to be isentropic. So that's the usual thing what we try to do actually. So let's try to solve this actually. Solution. Okay, what are the data that is given? The data they are given is actually the initial pressure, that is P1 is equal to 10 bar, and the initial temperature is equal to 200 degrees Celsius, and the final pressure they are given, it is 5 bar. So they are given 5 bar, and they are telling what type of nozzle it is. So I'm trying to look at the what type of nozzle it is, all those things based on the your pressure, all those things, and I will see. Anyhow, exit pressure. So rather than calling it as simply P2, let me take it as P exit. Actually, this is an exit pressure, and we'll see that what happens to it actually. Okay, and the mass flow rate is given as 3 kg per second. This is what they are given, and you are supposed to find the what is the minimum area. That is, if I consider that as something like EA2, that is the throat area. If it is a CD nozzle, if it is an converging nozzle, it is the exit area. That's also EA2. So we'll see first what type of nozzle it is. Now, so if you look into your critical pressure ratio, what will be the critical pressure ratio? So we have the formula for the critical pressure ratio. We know that the critical pressure ratio, we know that the critical pressure ratio, the critical pressure ratio for V1 is equal to 0, that is with initial velocity equal to 0 is given by P2 by P1 is equal to 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n by n minus 1. Okay, now if you go and look into what type of steam it is actually, if you go to your steam tables, and at the ASM, maybe steam tables or ASM steam tables or whatever it may be, just check for 10 bar what is the saturation temperature. Okay, go to your maybe any kind of a steam tables, go to pressure based on the pressure this thing. So at 10 bar, so what is the saturation pressure? Yes.
It's around 180 degrees Celsius.
Yes, that means it is a superheated condition. So now at P1 is equal to 10 bar, the saturation temperature. Okay, at P1 is equal to 10 bar. Okay, at 10 bar, the saturation temperature is 179.89. At P1, sorry, yeah, P1, the saturation temperature, that is T saturation, is found to be 179. I'm just trying to take it from the ASME statement, that as you told, it is 180 degrees Celsius, so roughly. So, but the given condition of the steam actually, what they're telling that given steam is actually, it is 200 degrees Celsius. Therefore, the condition of the steam at the inlet of the nozzle, therefore, the condition of the steam at inlet to nozzle is superrated. Okay, it is superrated. Why? Because T1 is greater than T saturation. 200 is greater than T saturation. Now what I will do? So for this condition, therefore, the value of N will be 1.3 for superrated steam. For superrated steam. So I will substitute this. So P2 by P1 is equal to 2 by 1.3 plus 1 whole to the power of 1.3 divided by 1.3 minus 1. So from this, I'll be getting my P2 by P1. Okay, P2 by P1 is how much actually? I'll be getting around 0.5457. I'm getting around 0.5457. Okay, therefore, your P2 is equal to 0.5457 into 10. So I am getting around 5.45 or roughly around 5.5 bar. Okay, roughly I am getting 5.5 bar. Since the throat pressure, okay, what this is actually, this is the from the critical value. This is the critical value is greater than the exit pressure. Okay, this value 5 point since the critical exit pressure, what we have calculated. Okay, since the throat pressure, see this particular thing, since the throat pressure, what I am trying is greater than the exit pressure, the nozzle used is a convergent divergent nozzle. Okay, what I am trying to get actually, this is a CD type of a nozzle. So this is this exit pressure is 5.5 bar, so which is greater than, say, since the exit pressure, so this is the throat pressure. Since this is the throat pressure, since the throat pressure is greater than, since the throat pressure is greater than the exit pressure, since the throat pressure is greater than the exit pressure, the nozzle used is a CD type of a nozzle. The nozzle used is CD, that is convergent divergent nozzle. So this is the type of, this is how you can find the type of the nozzle. So where will be the minimum area? The minimum area will be at the throat, where the corresponding pressure is 5.5 bar. So therefore, the minimum area is at throat, at which at a P is equal to 5.5 bar. Okay. Now, see, what I will do is actually, yesterday we tried to solve this problem using the tables actually. So shall we try to use this today's problem using the Molière chart? Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll try to solve one problem using the Molière chart. What I want is just you people try to do this. I'll tell you the procedure. What you do actually, just go to this HS diagram. Okay. Just go to this HS diagram. This is my HS diagram, and you do have the maybe you may be having the saturation line, something like this, and there will be some constant temperature line. So just to go and see this constant temperature line, which is equal to 200 degrees Celsius. Okay, and we will be having constant pressure lines. The pressure lines will be going something like this. So they will be diverging like this. Okay, just check for the pressure. P1 is equal to 10 bar. Okay, so that is this particular point. Say this is my point 1. And you will be having one more constant pressure line which will be going like this. So this is actually your pressure which is equal to 5.5 bar. Okay, this is you will be having a P2 is equal to 5.5 bar. Okay, now go between that actually. So you try to draw a vertical line from 1 to your 5.5 bar. Okay, this is your expansion, this is the point 2. Now try to get the value. This you are going to get H1, and if you draw a horizontal line, you will get H2. Now from the Molière chart, try to get that value. From the Molière diagram, H1 minus H2. So try to get this numbers. This number H1 this number, you will get H2. Thus delta H, you try to get between this H1 minus H2. Try to get that number. And the corresponding specific volume also. So specific volume where you are supposed to get at V2. See at 2, so you have to get V2. You can get it. There is a specific volume lines. They will be going something like this. They will be going dotted lines. They will be going specific lines will be there. You will be getting an approximate. This is your specific volume lines. Okay, you will be getting the value. So 0.3 or 0.25 or something like that you will be getting. A rough value you will be getting it. Just try to get that numbers.
Sir, I got 2830
2830
and 2740.
2830 minus 2740. So this is 90. So 830 minus 7, so 90 kilojoules per kg. So roughly around 100. So others, what about others? So someone is getting the same values? What about specific volume? Specific volume at this particular point 2.
Specific volume should be found from the tables itself, sir.
No, you can go directly get it from the, because you need X actually. You don't know X value. If you want to go to the tables, then you have to calculate X2. Yesterday we have done that. Now you will directly use from the Molière chart. What you have to do, in the Molière chart, where exactly you have the point 2, no, you will be having the specific volume lines, which will be going almost like parallel to your pressure lines.
Okay.
You will be getting that value. How much is the specific volume? It will be 0.2 or 0.1, something like that. I am getting around 0.32. 31 or something. It's slightly more than 31. I am taking 0.32. There will be pressure lines, there will be volume lines. Both lines will be there in the Molière chart. Okay. Once you get this, so let's find the exit velocity or velocity at the throat. The velocity at the throat, where it will be maximum. That is V2 is given by 44.72 into square root of 90. Okay, so if you do that, I'll be getting a value of your velocity at the throat. How much are you getting? 424.25 meters per second. Okay, now how to find the throat area? Okay, to find the throat area, we know that mass flow rate is given by, okay, your A2, this is your V2 velocity, okay, divided by specific volume at 2. So I need to find A2. So your A2 is equal to m dot into your specific volume divided by your velocity. So A2 is equal to mass flow rate is given in the problem statement as 3 into 0.32 divided by 424.25. So I'll be getting A2 in terms of meter square. Okay. How much you're getting? 0.0026, 22, sorry, 23, 0.0023 meter square. Point 0.0226 actually. So I'm rounded up to 0.0023 meter square. So this is how you can calculate it. This is the type of the nozzle, how I can find it based on your critical pressure ratio. So where see that, but based upon that particular thing, I'm able to get it actually. That fine?
Yes, sir. I think there is some difference that I'm getting in specific volume, but I'll check it again, sir.
How much are you getting?
I'm getting around 0.6.
0.6. No. 0.6 it can't be.
I'll
Should be
check
around
it.
0.3. I'm getting around 0.31. It's between 0.31. So you might be, see, the values what you have to look at, you might be not having a proper Mollier diagram.
Maybe.
Okay, the Mollier diagram should be proper. See, the Mollier diagram will be having, maybe you will be having a dark lines with all the constant pressure, and you will be having the maybe dotted one for the specific volume. Okay, you have to be very clear with that.
Okay.
Use proper this thing. It will be around 0.31 to 0.32. That's it, not more than that.
Okay. Yes, correct, sir. It is 0.3.
Yeah, 0.3, 0.31 to 0.32. So between that, slightly more than 0.3.
Correct. Got it.
Okay, fine. So let's try to do the next problem. So anyway, I prepared a tutorial sheet. So let's try to take one more problem. So frictional velocity is there, no? Let's try to take this problem. Steam nozzle, okay. Fourth problem we'll take. Anyhow, third problem is which people can try. And fourth problem I'll try to do this. Okay. Because it involves you people to take the values from steam tables and all. It's bigger one and try to take that. Take this problem. Fourth problem. Okay, fine. The problem statement. This is the problem statement. Okay. In a steam nozzle, the steam expands from 4 bar to 1 bar. Okay. The initial velocity is 60 meters per second and the initial temperature is 200 degrees Celsius. Determine the exit velocity if the nozzle efficiency is 92%. Okay, so very simple. See, this problem can be solved using either steam tables or Mollier chart. Both can be tried. Okay, what is more important is how to get it on your maybe HS diagram. Okay, if you're able to do it. Okay, let me get the solution. Okay, so what is the data that is given? So they have given the data. This P1 is equal to 4 bar and your P2 is equal to 1 bar. So they have given the initial velocity V1 is equal to 60 meters per second, which used to be 0 earlier. Now in this problem they are given V1 is equal to 60. It is not 0. We can't neglect it. And T1 is equal to 200 degree Celsius. So they are given the nozzle efficiency as 92%. Okay. What is it actually? So all these times what we used to do, we used to consider as an isentropic expansion. So here what's happening, I do have an actual expansion, because if we consider the TS diagram or HS diagram, whatever it may be, let me put HS diagram, okay, TS diagram, HS diagram. So where, how will be your constant pressure lines will be going? Your constant pressure lines will be going somewhere, it is diverging like this. So this is for your P1, this is for your P2, and I do have a dome. The dome will be something like this. This is my saturation line, which will be going. And now I need to find out, see, you have to go to your steam tables and check for at 4 bar what is the saturation temperature. Okay, at 4 bar the saturation temperature is, if it is less than your 200 degrees Celsius, then the condition of the steam is superheated. And it is definitely, because the 10 bar itself you have seen it is 179, and for 4 bar it will be much less than that. So definitely the condition of the steam for this particular thing is superheated condition. You got it? So that's how you people can check. So go to your steam tables, okay, check for the saturation temperature at 4 bar. Okay, check for the saturation temperature at 4 bar. What is the value?
Around 144.
Okay, so it is 143 or 144. Okay, so then, so from the steam tables, from the steam tables at P1 is P1 is equal to 4 bar, the saturation temperature is, I am getting around 143.61 degrees, okay, which is less than that T1, which is 200 degrees Celsius. Therefore, the steam is superheated. The steam is superheated actually. So in that case, what I need to do actually, I need to go and check for, what is it actually? I need to go and check for its saturation, superheated condition. So there will be one line which will be going like this in your Moliere chart, that is a 200 centigrade degrees line. So wherever it's going to meet, your P1 is equal to 4 bar, that is your 0.1. Okay. Now, if it is a purely an isentropic, so I'll be dropping a vertical line. So wherever it is going to drop, this will be your 2 dash or 2s. Okay, that is your isentropic expansion. But I told that this is an actual expansion because there is a normal efficiency. So it should be, there is an increase in the entropy. So actual one, so this will be your 0.2. Okay, so this is my H1. So this will be my H2 and this will be my H2 dash. So what is your nozzle efficiency? Nozzle efficiency is nothing but I should able to put based on your expansion, how it is occurring. So it's a ratio of actual expansion to your theoretical or isentropic expansion. So based upon that, I'll be able to get my actual enthalpy drop. So your H1 minus H2 dash, okay, minus your 0.92 if I do, or sorry, multiply by 0.92 if I do, I'll be getting my actual enthalpy drop, which will be H1 minus H2. And that you have to put it in your velocity. Okay, same problem can be solved using Moliere chart as well as your this. Okay, now let me go to your steam tables. So from the steam tables, using steam tables, so you should get versed in using both steam tables as well as your Moliere chart. So at P1 is equal to 4 bar. So let us write all the values. So H1 is equal to, so what will the value? Okay, at H1, so 4 bar, H1 is equal to, so it is a superheated condition. It's a superheated, you have to go to superheated condition for 200 degrees Celsius. Okay, H1 at 4 bar at superheated conditions. So you have to go to superheated tables at P1 at 2 bar and T1 is equal to 200 degrees Celsius. So what I'm going to get, this is a superheated condition. You don't go to the saturated tables. You have to go to the superheated tables at 200 degrees Celsius. I am getting around 2860.5. 2860.5 kilojoules per kg. Okay, so the corresponding entropy, that is S1, is equal to 7.171 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. Now similarly, at P2 is equal to 1 bar. P2 is equal to 1 bar. Let's try to find HF2 or HL2, whatever it may be. It is 417.5 kilojoules per kg. Then Hg2, directly if you want, you can take HFG2 or Hg2 directly, whatever way you want, you can do it. So if I'm using HFG2, I'll be getting it. So HFG2 means I'll be getting your Hg minus HFG2. So I'll writing that actually. So HFG2, it is actually 2257.9 kilojoules per kg. Okay. Then, so SF2 is equal to 1.3027 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin, and SFG2 is equal to 6.0571 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. So this is the value I got. Now, if I try to follow the isentropic process, because H1 minus H2, if I want to find, first I have to find H1 minus H2 dash. So for an isentropic expansion, okay, for an isentropic expansion, okay, your S1 is equal to S2 dash. So all these things are with respect to 2 dash, whatever it may be. So multiply by 0.92, I'll be getting H minus H2. So here if I try to equate it, actually, this is 7.17. 1 is equal to SF2. Okay, what is SF2? So this is actually, this is S1 is equal to SF2 plus X2 into SFG2. So that's the formula. So what is your SF2? It is 1.3027 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin plus X2 into yours, that is 6.0571. So if I do the calculations, I am getting around X2 is equal to 0.97 or 0.969. If you want to write into 2 decimals or this thing. Now from this I can find H2 dash actually. So all these things are 2 dashes actually. All these things are HF2 dash, just simply put, so that it is easy for you. Okay, so this is actually, so H2 dash is equal to HF2 dash plus X2 dash into HFG2 dash. Okay, that is HF2 dash is equal to how much? 417.5 plus 0.969 into, it is 2257.9. So I'll be getting my H2 dash is equal to 2605.4 kilojoules per kg. Now what is the enthalpy drop? So therefore the isentropic enthalpy drop or isentropic enthalpy drop, that is H1 minus H2 dash is equal to, so your H1 is equal to 2860.5 minus 2605.4. Therefore it is H1 minus H2 dash is equal to, okay, 255.1 kilojoules per kg. So now we know that nozzle efficiency. We know that the nozzle efficiency is equal to your actual enthalpy drop, that is H1 minus H2 divided by H1 minus H2 dash. So therefore your actual enthalpy drop, which is H1 minus H2, is equal to the product of nozzle efficiency into H1 minus H2 dash, okay, that is 0.92 into 255.1. Okay, if I do that, I am getting a value which is less than 255. It is 234.69 kilojoules per kg. This is my H1 minus H2. Now, how to find the your velocity? So here, we know that, so the exit velocity, therefore the exit velocity is given by V2 square. Okay, this is V2 square minus V1 square by 2 is equal to H1 minus H2. Or I can write your V2 square is equal to 2 into H1 minus H2, okay, plus V1 square. If I want V2, I'll take square root of it. So here I have to ensure that this H1 and H2 I have to substitute in joules per kg. Okay, otherwise I have to multiply by 2000. Okay, because that's in joules per kg. So therefore, V2 is equal to square root of 2 into 234.69, okay, into 1000, because this is in joules, kilojoules, I have to multiply by 1000. So that I get in joules, plus what is my V1? V1 is actually 60 square. So I will be getting my V2. If I substitute everything, I am getting a very high value, 687. Yeah, 687.7 meters per second. So maybe if I try to use a Mollier diagram, maybe my value may change a little bit, slightly it may change.
It will be around 660, sir.
Yes, around 1020. See, because that is approximate. Okay, approximate if you do, so that's it. But steam tables it will be more accurate, because you are trying to consider 2 decimals or 3 decimals. It will be more accurate. That's the only difference. So that's why when I am trying here, people can try using the Mollier chart.
But it is valid to use Mollier chart in the exam also.
Yes. See, for example, I'm trying to solve a problem. Okay, now I have only 15 minutes. So using steam tables, it will take 25 minutes for me. So use Mollier chart, you can do that. There is no restriction until unless it's given in the problem statement that don't use Mollier chart, you are not supposed to. I can use Mollier chart or I can use steam table. So steam table is more accurate because I'm trying to consider all the decimal places. That's the only major difference.
Okay.
That clear? So let me take one more problem and solve. We have another 15 minutes. Okay. Trisaturated steam. Yeah, we'll take the 7th problem anyhow because it's a bit lengthy. That's fine because it's for a dry steam. Let's try to do that. Okay, 7th problem will take. Okay. The problem statement is something like this. Dry saturated steam, okay, at a pressure of 11 bar enters a convergent divergent nozzle and leaves at a pressure of 2 bar. Okay. If the flow is adiabatic and frictionless, determine the exit velocity of the steam. Anyhow, that is first part. And they are asking the second one. The ratio of the cross section at exit and that of the throat. What it is actually, if I consider 1 as the inlet to the nozzle, 2 as the throat, 3 as the exit, I should be able to find the ratio of A3 to A2. Okay, the ratio of A3 to A2, if I do that means I need to find both A2 as well as A3 here. Okay, now the same problem can be solved using Mollier chart as well as from the maybe the steam tables. So both will try to use. Okay, otherwise they will try to solve using Mollier chart or whatever it means, so that we can do it little faster. Now for this, how my your HS diagram will look like. So that's the first thing. Solution. So what are the data they are given? So they are given the data. It is P1, which is 11 bar. Okay, and leaves at the pressure. Leaves at the pressure means it's a P3. It is not P2. So the intermediate pressure P2 is not given. Okay, don't get confused. So they are given P1, which is 11 bar. P2 is equal to, it is 2 bar. So P3 is equal to 2 bar. The flow is adiabatic. So assume the adiabatic index, that is N is equal to 1.135 for a dry saturated steam. What we are supposed to find? We are supposed to find V2. We are supposed to find the ratio of A3 by A2. Okay, to find. So we are supposed to find the first one. It is the velocity V2. Okay, the second one, the ratio of A3 to A2. Okay, now if I try to draw the HS diagram, the HS diagram is something like this. So this is my HS diagram. So I do have three pressures here. So one is P1. So P1 will be going something like this, and then I have P2, which is my throat pressure. Then I will be having my exit pressure. Okay, so I'll be, this is a dry saturated steam. So this is my what is called as a saturation line. Okay, so then if I try to, so this is the dry saturated line. This is my P1. This is my P3. This is my P2. P2 I need to find. Okay, it's purely an isentropic expansion. So if this is the point 1 actually, so I'll be expanding from 1 to 3. So intermediate I have 2. This is my 3. So this is what is actually. So even though, see, distance wise between P1 and P2 is smaller, 2 and 3 it will be bigger. You know, I'm not showing that. So here, so you have, see, if you try to look into that actually, very closely, if you try to observe, so there will be what we call it as your dry saturation or your X lines. So corresponding to that, you will be getting X2. Corresponding to that, you will be getting X3. So here, one more thing is your X2 is greater than your X3. Say if my X2 is 0.98, okay, your X3 will be 0.92 or something like that. So that you have to be very careful when you're using your Mollier chart. Otherwise, you may end up with a mistake. So that's why better is actually, whenever you are trying to solve this problem, try to put it on your HS diagram on your white sheet, and then you take it on your Mollier diagram. So you'll be better frame of mind to solve this problem. Okay, so this is your HS diagram. Let's try to solve it. Now, so P1 is equal to 11 bar. So they are told that it's a dry saturated steam. We need not worry about it. So let's try to find the throat pressure. Okay, so the throat pressure is given by the throat pressure. Okay, is given by this particular formula. What is it actually? It is P2 by P1 is equal to 2 by n plus 1 whole to the power of n by n minus 1. So let's try to substitute it. So 2 by 1.135 plus 1 whole to the power of 1.135 divided by 1.135 minus 1. So therefore, P2 is equal to 0.58 times. So P2 by P1 is equal to 0.58, or P1 is 11 bar. So therefore, your P2 is equal to 0.58 into 11. Okay, I'm getting around 6.4 or 6.38 bar. So which is exactly intermediate between your 11 and 2. Okay, now 0.1 corresponds to what actually? It is your entry, that is your vertical line, that is corresponding to your entry, that is on a dry saturated line. 2 corresponds to your throat pressure, 6.38. So I need to draw a vertical line in your Mollier chart. wherever it's going to intersect 6.38. See, from 1, which is a dry saturated condition, okay, and wherever, so I have to mark the 6.3, anyway 6.38 is very difficult to locate there. 6.4 or 6.5, somewhere you have to approximate, you have to in your maybe Moliere chart. Maybe on the steam tables also you have to go to 6.5 only. You don't have any intermediate values. Okay, intermediate value you have to interpolate. There is no other go. So vertical line 6.38 or 6.5 bar. So what is the thing? You draw a vertical line here. So you'll be getting the, so H1 here. So you'll be getting the H2 here, and you will be getting the H3 here. Okay. So now what is the enthalpy drop actually between H1 and H2? I should be able to get it. So now H1 actually, if you try to correspond to 11 bar at saturation condition, maybe from Moliere diagram or whatever it may be. So you may get H1 as around 2780. 2780 kilojoules per kg. Now corresponding to H2, if you try to get it from the Moliere diagram, okay, if you get it from the Moliere diagram, so roughly, so it's around 2680 or something, roughly 2680 kilojoules per kg. Don't go for 76, 77, 79, and it's very difficult. Very rarely we'll get it. Maybe roughly the some number we are getting. And corresponding to that, you can get X2 is around 0.96. Roughly between slightly greater than 94 or 95. It is nearer to 0.96 actually. So justly I am getting around 0.96. And corresponding to that actually, what is the value of your V? Okay, that is your specific volume. I am getting around 0.3 meter cube per kg. You can verify this. So whatever the values I am telling, you can just verify it. So now difference between 2780 and 2680 is roughly around 100. Okay. Now what will be the value of your exit velocity or throat velocity? So therefore, throat velocity is equal to your V2 is equal to 44.72 into your root 100. Okay. So if I try to do that, I'll be getting the value of your exit velocity, it is 447. So I'm getting around 447.2 meters per second. That is your velocity at the throat. See, what is the mass flow rate actually? See, what is the mass flow rate? I don't know the value of mass flow rate. I can find it. Now, what is the mass flow rate actually? What is the formula? Mass flow rate of m dot. Actually, your mass flow rate, actually, it is actually m dot is equal to your A2 into V2 into small v2. Okay, small v2. Okay, small v2. So your mass flow rate is given by mass flow rate m dot is equal to A2 into V2 divided by small v2. This being an dry, maybe wet steam actually. So I have to multiply by its corresponding what is called as your dryness factor. Yeah, 0.96. So now see what I will get, what I need to get here actually, I need to get A2. Okay, what I need to get actually, I need to get A2. So A2 is given by, okay, so A2 is given by, so therefore A2 is given by is equal to m dot into x2 into small v2 divided by capital V2. Okay, so m dot into A2 into this particular thing. So now see here I am going to get everything in terms of m dot. Okay, so therefore A2 is equal to m dot into 0.96 into 0.3 divided by your capital V2, that is 447.2. 447.2. So if I try to substitute this, so I am getting around 6.44 into 10 to the power of minus 4, or 0.00064 m dot. Okay, I am getting around 6.44 into 10 to the power of minus 4 into m dot. Okay, now I will proceed further. What is it actually? From point 2, I will move to a point where your P3 is equal to 2 bar. I am going to hit it actually. So if you strike that, so corresponding to that, I need to get the values. So at point 3 from Moliere chart, okay, at point 3 from Moliere chart, I have to get these values. Okay, what are these actually? I have to get H3. Okay, I have to get H3. So H3, if I tell you this should be less than your H2, so I am getting around 2480. Okay, H3 is equal to 2480 kilojoules per kg, and the corresponding X3, so I'm getting around 0.89, so slightly nearer to 0.9. So X3 is equal to 0.9. Okay, X3 is equal to 0.9. Now, what is the enthalpy drop? For this condition, it is H1 minus H3. Okay, so what is the enthalpy drop? H1 minus H3. And what will be the velocity at the exit? So therefore, the velocity at the exit, that is V3 is equal to 44.72 into square root of H1 minus H3. Okay, H1 minus H3, or I need to put it. So
Sir, there should be V2 square added also, no, sir?
V2 square?
Added to the root.
No. Why V2 square?
Because delta H is equals to the difference in kinetic energy, no, sir?
No. Why V2 square? See, I am trying to find the velocity between entry and throat, entry and exit. Why we should add V2 square? V2 square you are not supposed to add.
Okay.
It's because it is in the flow direction. V2 square should not be added. So only the entry velocity we have to add. If there is a entry velocity V1 square, then we have to add. So everything is based on your entry velocity. Here we are going with a maybe assumption or option that your V1 is 0. Okay, so your V1 is 0.
Sir, suppose if they given entry velocity, we need to add for both V2 and
Yes,
V3.
both. Yes, for both we have to add. For V2 also you add V1 square to the 100 plus V1 square. So in that case, we have to use the formula. Okay, in that case, you have to use the formula V2 square minus V1 square divided by 2 is equal to H1 minus H2, or V3 square minus V2, so V1 square. So it is with respect to your initial velocities. It is with respect to initial velocities. Okay, always with respect to initial velocities. So now initial velocity is 0, it's a straightforward formula. So roughly, so 480, 700 minus 80, so it is 300. So square root of 300. So I am getting your V3 is equal to, so how much I am getting? 774. This is 774.6 meters per second. Okay. Now similarly, your mass flow rate is equal to what formula? It is A3V3 is equal to A3 into V3 divided by, once again, it is X3 into small v3, or your A3 is equal to m dot into X3 into small v3 divided by your capital V3. So here also I need to get this small v3, that your specific volume. So that is around, so slightly, if I come towards the lower pressures, okay, this value of specific volume will increase. So roughly I am getting around 0.9 meter cube per kg, 0.89 or something. So it's slightly below your 0.9 actually. So I can take it 0.9, doesn't matter. So now, so this value, so if I try to put it over here, so I am getting, so if I substitute, this will be in terms of m dot This will be 0.9 into 0.9 divided by your exit velocity is 774.6. So I'm getting my A3 as divided by 774.6. I'm getting around 1.0456 or 457. So 1.046 into 10 to the power of minus 3 m dot. Now the ratio of, therefore, the ratio of A3 by A2. So what is my A3? It is 1.046 into 10 to the power of minus 3 m dot. So what is your A2? So A2 is actually, it is 6.44 into 10 to the power of minus 4 m dot. So m dot simply cancels. I am going to get this ratio.
1.61, sir.
Yes, 1.62. Okay, you can round it up to 1.62. So this is the ratio of the exit area to your throat area. So this is how you can